And we bow. Please stand and go to the Three Refuges, which is on the stapled. Okay, got it. Okay. And we say together, I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And we bow. We'll turn to the next page, the Heart Sutra, the Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra, which means the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. And we bow. Thank you. You may be seated. It's like that sports show. Pardon the interruption. The Dharma talk today is entitled, It's Time to Change Your Mind. Now in their book, The Buddha's Brain, it's a very technical book, I wouldn't recommend it, Doctors Rick Hansen and Richard Mendice go into great detail about the physiology and inner workings of the brain. Now, since I am not a neuroscientist, there is much that I didn't fully understand about their work, but there are several things that immediately stood out to me. So, the average brain is only 2% of the body's overall weight. And yet it consumes 25% of the body's oxygen and glucose. The brain contains some 100 billion neurons. I'm no mathematician, but I think that's 10 followed by a million zeros. That is also the number of possible states of the brain in any given millisecond. Now, in comparison to that, there are approximately only 10 to the 80th power atoms in the entirety of the universe. Now, these neurons in our brain make lasting circuits within and between the billions of synapses in the brain. And these neuron synaptic circuits are continually interacting with the body, with events inside of us, outside of us, and all other systems that the brain encounters through all of our sense perceptions: sound, smell, taste, touch. Now, all of that leads back to the Buddha's words. Everything is created by mind alone. Everything is created by mind alone. And most importantly, the brain can be changed and altered in incredible ways so that the messages being transmitted through the synapses can be rerouted, changing the way those messages translate into our behaviors. Now, in AA, we have a saying about the need to change our thinking away from what we called, when I sat around those tables, stinkin' thinking. Okay? Any of you who are in recovery understand what I'm saying. The stinkin' thinking that led to our substance abuse. From that to a more consistently positive way of thinking that allows us to effortlessly resist our using behaviors and turn them into positive behaviors until the new positive behaviors become our natural, habitual state. Our natural, habitual way of seeing drugs and alcohol. Now, this is true for any habitual behavior in which we engage. It could be the TV shows that we watch. It could be our eating habits. That's one I'm very guilty of. Being on our phones, the shows we watch, the books we read, how we treat those inside and outside of our circle. So we need to first of all question, what am I doing now? Followed by, what do I need to change that would lead me to becoming a healthier individual on this path, and therefore be able to share that increased degree of health and well-being to those around me? What do I need to change in the neural pathways of the brain, which make those decisions and behavior positive habits in our thinking and behaviors? Now, as Buddhist practitioners, we're all very, very, very aware that we're on a journey and that journey never ends. We can never reach a point where we can say, I've arrived. That's all there is. This is it. No, that's never going to happen. Now, perhaps the easiest way to demonstrate just how this works is to focus on two things that all of us do on a very regular basis. Excuse me. Go to bed and get up in the morning. Right? Most of us do that on a fairly regular basis. In going to bed, we are typically tired, but it's often, for me, I know it's incredibly difficult to shut my brain off. Because no matter how tired I am, the brain wants to keep going. Reviewing the day, everything I did, should have did, didn't do, could have done. And then, when I'm done with that, I'm off to tomorrow. What I have to do, what needs to be done, what's on my schedule. And before I know it, 2 or 3 hours have gone by and I'm still not asleep. Now, I envy those individuals who can hit the pillow and it's lights out until the next morning. Whoever you are out there, I envy you. Most of us aren't like that. We're thinking of all the things we coulda, shoulda, woulda done during the day that we didn't get done, or we've already jumped fast forward to what we have to get done the next day. So I find it very helpful as soon as I lie down, as soon as my head hits the pillow. Now, I have sleep apnea and I have a CPAP machine, and so I have to get that all ready and get that on and get it adjusted before I even lay down. Now, you have in front of you another piece of paper, a singular piece of paper that I gave you. And so I find it very helpful after I lie down to do a couple of mantras with my breathing. And I start with our closing gathas, which are a good way to close out my day. So with the in-breath, I say, for all unskillful actions, and then I have an out-breath. With the next in-breath, ever committed by me since of old, then the out-breath. On the in-breath, on account of my beginningless, out-breath. I should say ignorance, greed, and anger, out-breath. Born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, out-breath. Now I atone for it all. So then I go on to the next two closing gathas. Vast is the robe of compassion, out-breath. A formless field of benefaction, out-breath. I wear the Buddha's teachings, out-breath, for the benefit of all sentient beings, out-breath. And then the next one. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate, out-breath. Endless blind passions, I vow to uproot, out-breath. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate, out-breath. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain, out-breath. Then I start all over again. I'll do the closing gathas 3 times. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. When I'm done with that, I refer to the tattoo I have. Be still and know. And I'll do that. In breath. Be still. Out breath. In breath. I'm sorry. I do in breath. Be still. Out breath and know. In breath. Be still. Out breath and know. I'd like us to practice this. So if you would just prepare yourself for meditation, you don't have to, and you know, I've been at this, some of us been at this long enough, we have the gathas memorized. So, you know, and I would suggest that for all of you to memorize the gathas, the closing gathas. They aren't that difficult once you get into the rhythm and rhyme of it. But I'd like you to close your eyes or just shutter your eyes, 30-degree angle downward toward the floor. And I will give the in-breaths and then tell you to breathe out. And then I'll go on to the next in-breath and tell you to breathe out, okay? In-breath. For all unskillful actions, out-breath. Ever committed by me since of old, out-breath. On account of my beginningless, out-breath. Ignorance, greed, and anger, out-breath. Born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, out. Now I atone for them all, out. Vast is the robe of compassion, out. A formless field of benefaction, out. I wear the Buddha's teachings, out. For the benefit of all sentient beings, out. All beings, one body, I've out. I vow to liberate, out. Endless blind passion, out. I vow to uproot, out. Dharma gates without number, out. I vow to penetrate, out. The great way of Buddha, out. I vow to attain, out. For all unskillful actions, out. Ever committed by me since of old, out. On account of my beginningless, out. Ignorance, greed, and anger, out. Born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, out. Now I atone for it all, out. Vast is the robe of compassion, out. A formless field of benefaction, out. I wear the Buddha's teachings, out, for the benefit of all sentient beings, out. All beings, one body, out. I vow to liberate, out. Endless blind passion, out. I vow to uproot, out. Dharma gates without number, out. I vow to penetrate, out. The great way of Buddha, out. I vow to attain, out. In, out. In for all unskillful actions, out. Ever committed by me since of old, out. On account of my beginningless, out. Ignorance, greed, and anger, out. Born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, out. Now I atone for it all, out. Vast is the robe of compassion, out. A formless field of benefaction, out. I wear the Buddha's teachings, out, for the benefit of all sentient beings, out. All beings, one body, out. I vow to liberate, out. Endless blind passions, out. I vow to uproot, out. Dharma gates without number, out. I vow to penetrate, out. The great way of Buddha, out. I vow to attain, out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, be still, out, and know. Be still, 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 and know. Breathe in, out. In, out. In 10, out. In 9, out. In 8, out. In 7, out. In 6, out. In 5, out. In 4, out. In 3, out. In 2, out. In 1, out. I'm going to stop right here. I end with 10 breaths in and out, just whatever my normal breathing pattern is. Now, what I did forget to say is at the very beginning, we typically start with 3 cleansing breaths. Do you know what cleansing breaths are? It's breathing in as much as you can possibly breathe in and breathing out until there's nothing left, and doing that 3 times before you start in on the Gathas. Now, when I do this, when I've completed 3 rounds of the Gathas, 8 be still and know, and 10 breaths, just counting backwards, it usually clears my mind of any intrusive thoughts that I may be having and makes it easier for me to fall asleep. Now, if I'm still having difficulty, guess what? I start over again. Apparently, I have time to kill. And so if I'm not really right now, I feel like, okay, I could take a nap. But I'll return to the Be Still mantra for 10 more cycles. And I'll keep doing that, the Be Still and Know mantra, 10 breaths, Be Still and Know mantra, 8 times, 10 breaths, so on and so forth. And for me, who has a history of very severe sleep disturbance, that tends to work. Like I said, it clears my mind of the intrusive thoughts and allows that relaxation of the repetition of these wonderful gathas to settle in, allowing my mind to settle in, which allows my body to settle in. And then I can fall asleep. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
It was very peaceful. I could definitely fall asleep now.
Yes, that's the way it's intended to be, very peaceful and intended to put you in a state of relaxation so that sleep would come easier. So something happens after we've slept. It's morning. We wake up. Now, I don't know if I have ever woken up one morning and said, you know what? I think I'm just going to be a jerk today. Yeah, that sounds like a smashing idea. I'm just going to go around being a jerk all day long. I don't say that to myself, but you know what? There are some days I'm just a jerk all day long. It's also very difficult to say, I'm going to be just an incredibly happy, upbeat person all day long. Because there's that line from the old John Lennon song, life is what happens when you have other plans. So I have a morning routine as well. As soon as I wake up, I'll turn off my CPAP machine, take the mask off, I'll just lay in bed. Because usually, I mean, before I began this practice, what I do is I'd get out of bed, I'd go use the bathroom, I would head upstairs and hit that button on the coffee pot, okay? And then go back downstairs and brush my teeth and begin a frenzied day, which even though I'm retired, many of my days are still frenzied. I thought, this is not working. I don't want my mind to be agitated even before I get out of bed. What am I going to do about that? Well, I go through a morning breathing and recitation routine. I call it my well-being routine. I don't start with the cleansing breaths. I just keep my regular breathing, and I start with the in-breath. May I be well today. Out-breath. May I be at peace today. Out-breath. May I be safe today. Out-breath. I go through that 2 more times. And then I think of my family, my children, my loved ones. May they be well today. Out. May they be at peace today. Out. May they be safe today. Out. And I do that 3 times. And then I widen the circle to my friends and community, just keeping them in my mind. May they be well today. Out. May they be at peace today. Out. May they be safe today. Out. And I do that 3 times. And then I picture in my mind someone toward which I harbor ill feelings. We should probably shut off the recording right now, but we're not going to. I just have a really hard time with Donald Trump. I just do. And it's not about politics. It's just about the person that he consistently demonstrates himself to be. I just have such a hard time. So I picture him in my mind. I focus on him and I say, may Donald Trump be well today. May Donald Trump experience some peace today. May Donald Trump be safe today. And I'll go through that 3 more times. And then I'll get up and start my day. Any thoughts?
Does it start your day slower than you used to? Does it stop your mind from thinking too fast already?
All right. Karen has asked, does it start my day off more slowly? You know, do I engage less quickly, more slowly? And does it start my day off with, what was the second part? A sense of
More calmness.
More calmness, yes, more calmness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. When I go through that, starting with myself, then going to my loved ones, then going to my circle, the community, okay, which includes the Sangha, okay, and then going to a person for whom I have a history of harboring ill feelings. This is a total aside. This was some years ago, and I read about it, so it must be true. Some institute gathered 1,000 monks in a certain place in New York. And for 1 hour, ask those monks to simply meditate on well-being and safety and no harm. In that 1 hour, in the city of New York, crime fell in that 1 hour 40% of what it had been during that hour previously on any given day. 40%. If you think that your meditation, either individually or as a sangha, doesn't have an effect, remember, we are all connected by that divine consciousness, that energy that dwells within, between, and beyond each one of us. You see, once you're on this path, you can't get away from that energy. Once you start doing this, that just doesn't stay with you. Guess what? That energy flows out from you. Now, there may be some in our viewing audience, if anybody ever watches these, or in our own sangha that says, yeah, that sounds a little hippy-dippy, airy-fairy to me. But the research, the brain research, the other research that's been done about what happens when a collective comes together with a like mindset and puts that energy out into the universe, things change. Now, do I think I, as one person, am going to change things? I have no idea. I have no idea if anybody is changed by the meditations I do, but what I do know is this. There has never been a time when it has not been helpful to me in quieting my mind, in quieting my heart-mind, in quieting my body, and allowing me to go to sleep in a non-agitated state, and to wake up the next day in a non-agitated state. Of that I'm sure. So even, no, we got time. Prepare yourself for meditation again. We're going to go through this process, and when I get to the 3 or 4 people, when I get to your loved ones, I'm going to just say, my loved ones. When I get to circle, I'm going to say, my circle. When I get to the person with whom you may harbor some dislike, I'm just going to say name. All right? In-breath. May I be well today. Out-breath. In-breath. May I be at peace today. Out-breath. In-breath. May I be safe today. Out-breath. May my circle, my loved ones, be well today. Out-breath. May my loved ones be at peace today. Out-breath. May they be safe today. Out-breath. May my community be well today. Out-breath. May my community be at peace today. Out-breath. May my community be safe today, out-breath. To the person I may have held ill feelings toward, may they be well today, out-breath. May they be at peace today, out-breath. May they be safe today, out-breath. And then you repeat that 2 more times for yourself, your loved ones, your community, and for anyone with whom you might have had ill feelings. Okay. Even doing this consistently for 1 week, the neural pathways in your brain begin to change and adapt to this new pattern of thinking. You will also find, this is a curious side effect, that your behaviors toward yourselves and others begin to change. And soon, if you continue this practice, those behavioral changes become habitual. And you are then progressing a path of hope, healing, well-being, peace, and relaxation for yourself and others around you. This video will drop on Tuesday, is that correct, Nate? On Tuesday. And I would highly suggest that you go back and, fast forward through everything until you get to this part. And I've also enclosed another piece of paper that you have. I don't seem to have it. But it has the Closing Gathas on it. And I would recommend that you spend some time with this and memorize those Closing Gathas. Because like I said, they're not difficult to memorize. They have a rhyme and reason. And then use them in your bedtime routine. And try it for a week, and if it doesn't work at all, just come back and tell me I'm full of it, okay? Would you please all stand and turn to your Closing Gathas, which you should know somewhat by now. And we say together, for all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teaching for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And we bow. Thank you so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to have you here and to see new people come. So I hope to see you next week at noon. And be well. Have a good week.
Thank you.